my name is Jacob Adams, and I'm a fitness and leadership coach. I help people just like you achieve more strength and energy, more focus and clarity on the goals that matter, and the inspiration that you need to achieve that next level. I'm also the creator of the concept known as common sense self-mastery. Have you ever wondered if Lady Gaga does in fact live up to all of the hype? We know that she did the Super Bowl in 2017, and she put on a great show. Most of us loved it. Have you ever wondered if she in fact delivers of anything beyond a sexy singer that shakes her butt and, it makes people think provoking thoughts? Did you ever wonder if in fact she does have something more to offer? I myself was laying in bed this Tuesday on December 5th with my ticket to go to see her show, and I wondered because I had to call off work and I had to get a rental car, and I was just like going through a lot of debate as to whether it would even be worth it for me to attend. This would have been my 5th show, and so I was really like, I wonder if she's gonna actually put on a show worth going to, or going through all the trouble. But what I did was I said, you know what, I got the ticket. She's never disappointed me before. I committed to it already. I already got the rental car, so I got in my car and decided I'm going to listen to an audiobook. Now, believe it or not, the audiobook, which may seem like I'm sidestepping here, was by Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl was a survivor of a Nazi concentration camp. And one of his key ideas is the last of the human freedoms is one's attitude. He also is somebody that wrote and believes and is known, his work is known for somebody that believed that in human suffering we can find meaning. And when we find meaning in the suffering that we go through, we can actually really get a sense of purpose to our life and derive more joy in it in that way. But the meaning that we get from the suffering and the processing it correctly, that is the victory. Again, they may seem like I'm sidestepping from Lady Gaga, but I'm going to show you how it connects here, which was a very profound moment, and I ended up having an amazing day, right? So I got in my car, I listened to the audiobook. When I got there, I told my friend Barry, and he said, you know what? I told my friend Barry, I go, look, it's worth it to go, just get a ticket. And he had a ticket. My friend Diane and I, we all went. And the concert ended up being one of the best concerts I've ever been to in my entire life. Okay, and I've seen Eminem in concert. I've seen just some really good artists, Beyonce, Nelly Furtado. I mean, I've seen some really awesome artists live. And so the concert ended up being one of the most spectacular, loving, sincere, inspiring concerts ever. Now, keep in mind that we sometimes see that. We've seen that in the past, concerts were more considered something just for entertainment, something that, like a Disney World type event where you go, you kind of get fed fodder and just sort of leave with, okay, well, you got some pictures, everyone's happy, right? But now we're starting to see that artists, as they start removing their masks and being more sincere, they start seeing themselves more as leaders and actually really want to contribute and give love and value to their audience. Well, and if you haven't been to one of those concerts, well, I'm glad that I'm able to contribute to you some of the things and takeaways that I got from this Lady Gaga concert, because that is in fact exactly what happened. Well, the first thing that I got from the Lady Gaga concert, that she said, work from your heart. Work from your heart. She said that her last album, Joanne, that every note, every lyric, everything about it came from her heart. And I think that this was one of her most underrated albums, and it took me about a year to really fall in love with it, about a year after its release. And I think that it was so from the heart that it had a very natural progression as to the way the public accepted it. A Million Reasons I loved immediately. I loved Perfect Illusion immediately. But some of the other stuff that I kind of found slowly, like her solo with, her duet with Florence and the Machine, or Florence and the Machine, Hey Girl, right? And then Joanne, I started understanding Joanne. And then John Wayne, when I saw her perform that live, it was like, wow, that's amazing, right? And so I started seeing how the work of art from her heart was one of the key ideas. And she said, whenever it's not from my heart, it just doesn't work. So that was one of the biggest lessons that I think you watching can start right away. Ask yourself, is your work coming from your heart? Or is it coming from sort of a way that maybe as a mask, a way that you want to come across to the world, but you're not really that way. It's not really from your depth. It's not really a soulful expression of who you are. So that's one of the key takeaways that I got from a Lady Gaga concert. That's one. I'll be giving you about 7 today, okay? Work from your heart. Number 2, God favors the brave, right? I don't think we have to ask ourselves very much is if Lady Gaga exhibits courage, right? She gets on stage in tight revealing clothing. She wears provocative costumes, or has in the past. And so I think the bravery in her last album, Joanne, was letting a lot of that go actually and being more sincere. That was actually her bravery, I think, in this one. It's like removing the mask of Lady Gaga and then saying, call me Joanne. She actually opened up the concert with some of that message, which was, don't call me Lady Gaga, call me Joanne. And I believe that this is her removing a mask and showing courage, that next step, that vulnerability of this, I'm a human being, right? She's removing the fame, the whole mask of this grandiose pop singer, right? And so she's saying, God favors the brave. And so that would be my challenge to you as well, and even to me making this video. Believe it or not, I didn't know if I was going to make this video. Lately, I've been wanting to make videos, but I've been having setbacks and energy, things, and just sort of like just little injuries here and there. And are you determined enough to get your message out to the world? And are you determined enough to fight that resistance, whether it's subconscious, or whether it's societal, whether it's something, it could be anything. Like recently I let out on Facebook this long letter about, how am I going to support my wife, right? And it's a very long letter describing stuff from my childhood and all kinds of stuff. And before I let that email out, or that post, this is a very long letter on Facebook, before I let that out, I was very sort of, what's my family going to think? And it feels great to let it out, because I'm acting from a place of bravery and courage and sincerity, and acting from the heart. And if you're acting from these places, from the heart and from courage, you're going to find that you're going to get more energy and you're going to feel more free. Sometimes we collapse on ourselves and we judge ourselves and we criticize ourselves. Even this video, it was like, am I going to get to make this video? Right now I'm running on about 2 bars of battery as I make this video, and it's like, because some of it was drained on some of the other stuff I was recording and didn't quite make it. And there's always resistance to stop us from acting out of a place of bravery. But you're gonna have to focus and say, what am I trying to say? These notes that I have written down here, I wrote here and I wrote there, and I've been gathering thoughts. But what you're getting here is me saying, I have to say it. As hard as it is to say what I gotta say on this video for you, I have to get it out. I have to put it out, right? And for you, you have something within you, especially if you've made it this far in a video like this, you have something in you right now that you need to say, and expect to have some resistance in your path to saying it. Be brave, focus, and get it out. And remember that God favors the brave. This one was interesting. Go into the rabbit hole of your pain to search for who you were before the pain. She said that before she sang the song Joanne or something like this, and she got her guitar. And the thing is, what is your pain? For her, it was seeing her grandpa cry at the table, and her family talk about Joanne and have this cloud over their family, this sadness. And that was one of her traumas. You see, we all have traumas in our life, and this is psychological of sorts. And, some people would say, just sweep it under the rug. So that's fine. If you want to be that type of person, this is not a place to judge anyone or be, hateful to someone that doesn't believe in psychology or psychotherapy or believes that there's no such trauma or childhood wounds. That's fine. Myself, I do agree that there is such a thing as childhood wounds, and I do think it affects adults, and I do think that it affects people like you and me. And I believe that if we can examine that pain, we can start understanding who we are better. As you saw in some of my videos, like the Jordan Peterson one, that's a lot of what Jordan Peterson and all types of psychologists and psychotherapists agree. But Lady Gaga said, look at your pain and think about who you were before the pain. And who were you, right? Myself, I was a very athletic, wondrous kid that had energy and thought that he could do anything, right? That's who I was as a kid. So the thing is, if I'm not that sometimes, or sometimes I'm feeling like down or downtrodden or something, does that make sense? Like in the world, in a way, that's my trauma or the pain of my life has gotten to me. And she just said, who were you before that pain? And sometimes we need to remember who we were and say, this is all just in my head, and I'm just overplaying this old trauma or these old scripts or these old stories. And I go into this in some of my other videos, but you have to understand this collectively coming to the surface, going to this concert and seeing Lady Gaga talk about it on stage in front of all these people and singing songs to it, and it became a very cathartic experience. And here I am sharing with you further that this singer did in fact share this. And so maybe this is what you needed, to look into your pain and think about who you were before the pain and seeing it from an outside source. I'm just the messenger here. It's coming from an outside source. I'm just reporting it to you. And maybe it's an invitation for you to look inside yourself and think about who you were before your traumas and your pain. Okay? Well, the thing that she said following that was, she said something along the lines of, well, what you create with your pain belongs to you. I thought this was beautiful. See, for me, these videos is what I create. I've played guitar, and that was part of who I was and am as an artist or a musical person. I've written books, I've written poetry, and all those things are part of my creative self. My dad, who I talk about a lot, he was somebody, and still he has diabetes. He's currently chilling out at his home somewhere, and we talk, and I love him very dearly. And seeing him struggle with his nutrition and never really getting his finances in order really broke my heart. And so in that pain, I remember crying in the shower, right? And thinking, man, I wish my parents would stop arguing. And so a lot of my research and my work has come from all of that pain as a childhood. And to create, Jacob Adams, I'm a fitness and leadership coach, right? If you think about that, a lot of the people that you admire or respect, they're in many ways creating who they needed, right? We've adapted and created and evolved into this person that we needed as children, right? And so this is a very deep thing. And what I love what she said is what you create from your pain belongs to you. That was just such a beautiful thing. She goes, for me, it's creating an album named Joanne and singing about it. And she goes, that's me. She goes, but what you create with your pain belongs to you. This is a very profound one. So take a moment to write this down or think about it. What you create with your pain belongs to you. In a world where we're consistently trying to acquire other things or material goods or get acceptance or validation, and maybe even wonder what does belong to us, it was so beautiful to hear an artist say that, because she's validating that what you create with your pain belongs to you. And behind me, you see the singer Lady Gaga, and you see all the things that she's created, right? And so it's very beautiful to see, this is what she's created with her pain. Right? And when you see it through that filter, you start seeing beyond the scantily clad sexiness, beyond the awesome techno beats and the hard bass lines. You start seeing a person who is truly transcending the pain and outgrowing a lot of what was holding her back. And so it's a beautiful, beautiful realization. And after seeing her for over 10 years for 5 different shows, it was just this moment where I fell in love with what she said. What you create with the pain, what you create through and with the pain belongs to you. That was beautiful. And if you think about what Victor Hugo was saying about suffering, finding meaning in the suffering, and I read through that whole audiobook that day, I started seeing my day was like a day where pain and catharticism and just this really profound truth started coming out of the human spirit. You may be watching this in your own misery, through a breakup, through sadness, through neuroses, through anxieties, through depression, through hating how you look in the mirror. You may be watching us through all types of suffering, but this is the invitation again to look inward. As I told you, I'm a fitness and leadership coach, and this is not something I don't do. You know, before I shot this video, I was like, am I gonna do it? Should I do it? I'm running out of time. As I said, the battery's running out, but here's another one. Once you reveal your grief, and you show people your pain and everything like this, and it's all out on the table, if people don't accept you, you can tell them to fuck off. That's self-explanatory. You know, once I've released all my pain, all my truth, all the things of my past out to the world, and I could tell you, there's a moment of liberation. There's a moment where I knew where I would speak the truth, where I've spoken so much truth that I know that if someone doesn't love me when I'm being so thorough and so sincere, you know, there is a reason that I hid that. And I know that if I lose some people, I kept some of the things inside in the past because I didn't want to lose them. But I'm at a point now where I'd rather be free and accept myself fully than to have some people in my life. And that's when you have to understand. Sometimes you got to tell people, hey, this is who I am. If you don't like it, you know, there's a door. But respectfully speaking, she said fuck off, which I thought it was so beautiful. She asked, do you know how much I love you? And I think that's what we felt as the audience. We felt like, you know, she's not our wife, she's not our mother, but she put love into her work. And then through that love, that's why we drove, some of us 5 hours, some of us further. And she asked, do you know how much I love you? And she asked it several times. She goes, on every cell of my being, I love you guys. And we felt that. Here we are several days, 3-4 days later. And you know what? I'm making this video because it was that deep and the message was that good. And you may never understand this, but I hope that you're getting a glimpse into how surreal and fun and awesome of an artist and how loving she is. Who is Joanne? Joanne was her aunt who had lupus and passed away before she even met. And the key idea is that in seeing her family suffer again, there's that thing, the trauma of that. She saw that Joanne was this creative person that she never met, but she saw that she became artistic also, in a way inspired through her aunt. And that's why she says, I'm Joanne. She said that in her documentary or something like that. I'm Joanne. And so what I loved about it is that she's showing us that we can create with our pain, and that this idea of creating with pain is so artistic and so valuable. And again, stemming in all of creation, in all art, even Viktor Frankl, like I said that day in Man's Search for Meaning in the audiobook I heard, we understand that pain is such an important cathartic driver, right? And it's no difference for you, it's no different for her, it's no different for me. And so that's a key takeaway. These are the key takeaways I got from this concert here. I hope that it's helped you and it serves you. Understand that, you know, I think that the biggest mistake someone like you can make is to think that pain is not important, suffering is not important, and it's just something you got to endure without any type of lesson, without any type of inspiration. Look at your pain. Think about how it inspires you. Think about how you can use it to create a better version of yourself. Okay? The biggest mistake would be to ignore that. I'd love to hear what you have to think. I'm actually speeding through this video. I think it was meant to be this short because, you know, my battery's running out. I'm hoping that it doesn't shut off on me. My name is Jacob Adams. I'd love to hear a little bit about your story, what you're doing to create with your pain, maybe share some of the things that you've created with your pain. This video, Evolution Training, I've told you is linked to, you know, the desire to be better than what I saw in my family.